And welcome back to the show, everybody. Well, there's the cover of Incidental Contact, the new book by Chuck Walley. Chuck is a sports writer with the Weekly Adirondack in Old Forge, and your first book, Chuck.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Well, number one, congratulations on that. Welcome to the show. Number two, for those who aren't familiar, the Weekly Adirondack is up in Old Forge, and you cover what up there?
Primarily high school sports, and from a human interest perspective. We do cover results, obviously, but I try and focus on what the kids get out of it, the relationships that are developed, the friendships, and of course the what we take away from sports, life lessons, if you will.
Yeah. And so is that the Eskimos up there?
Yes, it is, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. And the sports writing led to the book, or did something else lead to the book?
Sports writing, yes, but also long before I was a sports writer, and obviously long before I was an author, I was a fan. I followed team sports for many, many years, and like many fans, have seen things occur on Sundays or Mondays through Fridays, if you're an NBA fan, that kind of gave pause, funny calls, things that couldn't quite be explained. And like most sports fans, I grew frustrated with that. So the combination of background with sports and seeing, things that suggested maybe foul play, if you will, led me to write the book.
Incidental Contact. Give us as much as you care to give us in terms of a synopsis without giving away too much.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil it for the readers, obviously. Well, interestingly, two of the main characters are from this region, and many of the scenes are set in central New York. The main character, Trey Valmer, is an Adirondack born and bred, now living in New York City, fictionally of course, along with his best friend, Rob Morrow. And Trey works for the International Football League, and he happens to stumble upon a document which suggests the possibility of an unethical, if not possibly illegal, executive office pool. His best friend and boyhood pal, Rob, is a bit of a ladies' man and a big sports junkie, and also has a gambling habit. So when Trey brings this to Rob, albeit with an ulterior motive, suggests, hey, we need to look into this a little bit more.
Would you call it a mystery story? Would you call it a sports story? How would you classify it?
It's really a thriller / mystery, if you will. And the sports aspect is not really the primary thrust of the book. It really is. The book, the book could have been about politics, or it's really an allegory, if you will, for corporate America and greed and corruption and the things that unfortunately we're all exposed to on a daily basis.
Yeah. So when we go to the bookstore, and I'll ask you where it's for sale in just a second, when we go to the store, where do you think it would be? In the mystery section?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the book is for sale where?
Locally, just now entering into Barnes & Noble in New Hartford, the Old Forge hardware store, obviously Main Street Old Forge, the Adirondack Reader, North Country Books, who's a local distributor, has just picked up distribution for everywhere from Syracuse to the Capital District. So yeah, within the next few weeks we'll be seeing it pretty much everywhere. Also online at all traditional book retailers, Barnes & Noble, Amazon.com, Borders, Sony eBook Store, all of those traditional outlets.
The book took how long to write?
Interesting story, and a good lesson for those who are not particularly computer savvy, which I was not. It took me 9 months to write, which was actually, they tell me, the publisher tells me, pretty quick.
I think it's pretty quick.
Had the manuscript completely done and had a hard drive crash.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. And only had the first 50, 60 pages actually printed out. There's a life lesson I will not forget.
Yeah.
So rewrote it, and actually in the long run, honestly, probably a better product as a result. I think so. Yeah, coming back and looking at it a second time in new perspective, I think certainly was helpful.
Yeah, anytime that I ever lost anything, and I haven't, knock on wood, lost anything in a long time, but whenever I lost anything, back in the old days at the Observer-Dispatch, when they were just starting into computers, it was very common to lose what you were working on right at that moment. And I never felt that the second time around was as good as the first
Felt
time.
like you lost something?
Yep. But anyway, 9 months, pretty fast.
Yeah.
What are your writing habits? Up in the morning early? Or?
Yeah, because it's fiction, and in fact, I was just up at the author fair in Inlet last Sunday and discussed this with a number of authors, and we were sharing, these insights. With fiction, in my case, you really have to immerse yourself in the scenes because you're trying to, feel what those characters are feeling. So you can't, for me anyways, I couldn't sit down for an hour or two and accomplish anything. It would take me that hour or two to really get into the mode. Yeah. So I'd spend a good 6-8 hours a day working on it.
You dedicate the book to 3 men.
Yes.
Who are they?
You've seen the dedication,
Yep,
obviously.
dedicated to the memory of Matt, Craig, and Dave.
Yeah, and living in the Old Forge community, of course, we lost Matt Gerard and Craig Sears in a horrible, tragic car accident. I am close with both families and became involved in the scholarship fundraising project. I actually chair that. And we had an event last January that raised over $12,000 in an afternoon for the scholarship. And also Dave Park, who was a close friend who was lost this year, also an Old Forge
In a
grad.
incident?
Separate incident, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The scholarships are going for Town of Webb kids?
Yes, graduating seniors.
Okay.
Yep.
The part of writing, do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you find it tough?
Well, first of all, love it.
Do you?
Love it. English was my favorite subject in high school. Hello, Mr. Capini, my high school English teacher. Loved to read, loved to do book reviews, book reports. Actually envisioned and hoped to write a book someday as far back as high school. And even now, the creative aspect. It's a tremendous creative outlet, especially fiction, to sit down and just imagine, and just kind of come up with whatever comes to mind and then go from there.
Yeah. When the book was finished, did you look back at, sometimes I look back at stuff that I've written and kind of wince because I didn't handle this right or I should have done this?
Yeah. Interestingly, as we were going to publish, of course, there's the editing process, and that's when I got paranoid. You're getting ready to hand this off, and I read and reread the book 15, 16, 18 times, and every time I read it, well, we could turn a phrase a little differently here, or is that really what that character would be thinking or saying at that point in time? But I find, and I finally convinced myself with writing, as with any artistic endeavor, I don't care if you're writing music or painting, there's no such thing as perfect. It is what it is. At some point, you have to say,
It's done.
It's done. I'm happy with it, and eventually, that's what happened.
Yeah. Any thoughts about doing another book, or is it too soon to ask you that question?
No, already working, actually. The publisher, before this one went out, of course, they're not interested in a one-trick pony. They're hoping that you have a lot more in you, and I think I do. So I'm working on, actually, I have 2 different things I'm working on. One actually writing, another one conceptualizing at this point. But yeah, we're definitely looking forward to another one.
Something that I've heard so many people say so many times over the years is that they were going to write a book, and if I had a buck for everybody that told me that but didn't, I'd be a very wealthy man. Any advice to people who feel they've got that book in them and but can't quite seem to get it out?
I would say what I'd say to I don't care if it's a high school student, an adult, anyone who has a passion for anything and not just writing, follow your dreams, follow your heart, because you'll regret it if you don't. Put the time in, make the time, and pursue it, because it's, as I said before, it's a great creative outlet and something obviously it's a legacy when you're done. You're published multiple times.
Yeah. Refresh my memory. I should know this, and I can't remember. Do you have a column in the Weekly Adirondack also?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Outside the box.
Oh, right. Outside the box.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
And what do you tend to go with in your column, Chuck? Do you stick with the high school sports, or do you get into other areas?
Occasionally, primarily high school, and the Eskimos mainly. The kids get a big kick out of it. I love following them around.
Yeah.
Both of my children are now in college, but that's how the thing developed, was starting to go to these things at the modified level, and approach Jay and said, you know, I do a little writing. Would you
Jay
like to?
being Jay Lawson, the
Publisher. Yep. And so that's how it kind of got kicked off.
Yeah, it's a pretty small school district up there.
We graduate anywhere from 24 to 32 kids a year, so you have very small Class D.
Yeah, does that help you with your writing, or does it detract from it, covering such a small school district?
Well,
I could see pros and cons.
and there are. Just like living in a small community. You know, we don't order Chinese food and have it delivered, but for every negative, there are probably 3 or 4 positives. First of all, and I know you're familiar with the Old Forge community, I can't say enough. The support that I've had, the school system was just phenomenal for my kids. They're doing very well in school. But getting back to your question regarding writing, I find, because I'm also involved with the basketball boosters, we raise money and send kids to, the girls go to, it's Cortland, and the boys go to Jim Boeheim's Big Orange basketball camp. And because it's a small school, I'm able to really get close with those kids and feel like, I mean, we're all family members, really.
I think you're having fun. I'm going to hold this up for Albert to get another shot of the cover, and that is Incidental Contact, and it's Chuck Walley's new book, and I'll let you say where the book is available.
Again, Borders, BarnesandNoble.com, Amazon.com, all traditional retail outlets. You can also visit for more information on the book, www.incidentalcontact.net, which will link you to all kinds of retailers.
Oh, good. Well, good luck with the book. I hope it's a big seller for you, and when you get the next one done, come back and see us.
Thanks, Joe. Look forward to it.
Good. That's going to do it for this week, but we'll be back next week, and we'll do it all again. Don't forget, we tweet every now and then on Twitter, and you can always go to cnyhomepage.com where we archive our shows. Until next time, take care of yourself, everybody.